So this is a demonstration on how to use the Volscan specific volume analyzer. So we have the machine turned on and the PC turned on to go with it, and we first of all activate the Volscan profiler program. We then need to initiate a new scan, so there's a button for the new scan. We press that and this brings up the next page. One of the buttons says change product parameters, and this is where you're going to be adding in the details about the sample that you are about to scan. So first of all, you put in the new date on the top right hand side, today's date. Then you want to name the product that you're actually scanning. So this will be a demo loaf that I'm doing today. Now, a couple of important things that you must make sure you have checked. First of all, that there is an auto weigh little bit that has been ticked. For specific gravity, which is the result you want to measure the weight of the loaf. So it's important that we have the auto weigh ticked. And then there is what's called the vertical step. Now this is how accurate you want the measurement to be. So if it's a very small or intricate product, you need it to be very detailed. So you would scan at around 0.5 millimetre to 1 millimetre. Now because we're doing a standard shaped loaf, I can increase that to about 3 millimetres. The more detail you want, the longer that the product takes to scan, because it's scanning every few millimetres. Obviously it takes longer the smaller that increment is. The next thing to put in is what type of product it is. So here I've got a scroll down and I'm going for an 800 gram tin loaf. And then the last thing is where it's going to save that information. So I'm going to make browse and put in the details that I want. So I'm going to go to me as a user and then onto my desktop, and I've got a folder saved as Volscan results. So I'm going to put it in there. Once I'm finished with that setup of the profile, press OK. And what I now have to do is calibrate the machine. So the first thing to do is calibrate the zero height. So where the product starts from, so the base. So we close the door and press calibrate zero height. It then gives me a pop-up which says please remove any products from the scanner and make sure the door is closed. So I've already done that, so I can press 0. Okay. It indicates that it's busy doing that, and then it says zero height calibration complete. Okay. So the next thing I want to do, because we're going to weigh the product as well, is tear the weight. So it's going to measure it for me, but I need to tear the weight. So there's a button that says tear weight. Make sure that there's nothing on there. Okay. And again, runs as busy, and then it's finished and ready to be used. So the next thing for me to do is to put my sample in. So I have a standard 800 gram loaf here. I'm going to pop it on the bottom spike, and then using the arm, the way to move the arm is by pressing the red button down while holding this blue arm. So if you don't hold the arm, it will just drop. Now we're going to position it just above the loaf, and then there's this little holding pin which is just secures the loaf so that when it spins round, so the laser can read it, it doesn't damage the loaf, but it holds it in place so it doesn't wobble. So we don't need to have it fully stabbed in all the way, just so that it touches and goes into the loaf just slightly. Then we can close the door. That's ready now to scan. And I'm going to weigh the sample. So weigh sample button. Is the top pin in the sample? Yes it is, so I can press that. And it's now weighing the sample. So it's stopped and it says it's ready to go, so online, and I can now start the scan. So the laser is now going to seek the top of the loaf, and then once it's done that, once it's found the loaf, it's going to start the scan. So it's now starting the scan and it's picking up the picture, and on the screen the laser is showing the outside of the product. So it's building up that 3D image as it slowly moves down the loaf of what the volume is for that product. It can take from as little as 30 seconds for it to do this, up to a couple of minutes, depending on the detail that's required, what the increments you've set it to. But it's very accurate and it's a very quick system to use. So this one, this accuracy is taking about 1.5 minutes. 15 seconds to go. Five, four, three, two, one. So it's now finished scanning, so I can press OK. And it's then come up with the details. Now what I need to do now is get hold of that information and create a report from it. So if I go to File in the top left hand corner and Preview Report, it'll come up with a separate box that says Report Template. Okay, that's what I want. It'll then start to draw a 3D image of the loaf for me that it will put into the report. If I it's got a bit of a broken screen there, so if I simply click on File and click off File again, the report comes up, and on the report is all the information that I need. So if I scroll down, the information I really need is specific volume in millilitres per gram, and in this case for this loaf it's 4.39 millilitres per gram, and that's the key information for this particular product.